I will not. I will not tolerate it. I will not tolerate two-facedness, none of it. I'd have a lot more respect if people come over here and be like, oh, by the way, I just like to come around. I don't have any loyalty. Not, like I'm going to go to the people that's opposite of you. If somebody came in here and straight up said, like, that's how I want to be, and and they won't ever lie to me to my face or pretend to be any type of way, I'm wobbled to actually say, you know what? I can respect that. I'll let you stay in here as long as you don't dox or do any obscene shit. I know nobody thinks I could, but for real, if somebody just came in here and said straight up, like, you know, I'm I'm not in here to pretend to be or whatever, be cool. I'm in here to just say the facts on both sides the way I see it, and isn't going to be an annoying little shithead. Won't be annoying, won't dox or use pictures of people's family and shit. If you were to be like that, even though like you regularly go and point out hypocrisy, because like I said, every one of us have been a hypocrite on here. But the problem is, everybody, and hell, even I suffer from this. In other words, I'm not saying it's mutually exclusive and I'm not under it, but every one of us do hypocritical shit. And then we point out somebody else that does something and we say, well, they should stop. But we don't stop. And there's people that want some people to just see it on that level. A few. However, the majority want you to see that, oh, it's all on me. And they also want to convince you that I want to say it's all on them. I took accountability for stuff. I've been honest and open with stuff that I didn't have to be. I could have, hid behind the deflection of, oh, it's all AI or whatever, I could have tried, and you may say the opposite, but, it's still at the end of the day, it would be a bet on what the people or persons that hear it decide to take for themselves. But I didn't do that. I said, I'll cover this one thing that we're going to go on. I said, the most disappointing moment I had early on was, and people think that it's really less than it is. I don't remember exactly, but it was to the tune of like, they were kicking it, they were hanging out, they were, like, they hadn't come at me and be like, I think you're this, that, they hadn't confronted me ever, so I had no reason to see this coming. And I was real sensitive then. And I think they definitely picked up on that. And when they went to that panel and the stuff they was saying, just really, it straight up communicated to me, like, the whole time they was up here with you, they was just putting on a fucking mask. And it really, like, irked me, because I'm like, I didn't do that with them. Like, why does shit happen to me that I don't do to other people? But then once I fired back and I, got real angry and I made a wish, while not a nice wish, it was still a fucking wish. It'd be like if I wished for a Lamborghini tomorrow, or I wished one of you got into a wreck tomorrow. If I wish that, while it's rude and whatever, it's not like my word will have any fucking weight with reality. I can't bend reality to my wishes. If I could, then maybe I would, if there was an actual, hell, even just 20 or 30% chance that by saying that it could come true, and I knew that beforehand, like, yeah, I could get the crucifying. because I could have literally, if that was true, I could have almost really caused somebody out of a 30% chance to get it. But it can't. It's a fucking word. Everybody loves to say, oh, they call you pedo, they talk about your dead mom. Well, that's just words, bro. It's just words. Wait, you wished, wait, you got mad one time when you was first on here and you wished cancer on some jackasses who was just pretending to be cool to your face and then talking shit behind your back? I'd say you definitely overreacted and you made yourself look bad by doing that in a way. But at the same time, at least you took accountability for it and you apologized and you haven't done it again, which is true. I've never done that same thing again. Never. Not since it's happened. And, I've never repeated it. And then they all go, oh, God, he done it again. Like, no, I haven't. So, but you tell me it's all words. What about the shit that's not words? Do you realize an older person like my granddad, blood pressure issues and stuff, something as small as social services coming to talk to him, which has never happened before in his life. And he's been on the planet since 1935. He was here before the fucking first damn, what you call it? God dang, getting tongue tied. He was here before the first damn atom bomb fucking dropped. That's how long he's been here. And in all that time, he's never had to deal with social services. That day they caused, just by that incident, they caused his blood pressure to get so high he had to go to the hospital. Because he was concerned that, enough people made that call up there. He's like, the only thing I worry about is enough people make call up there. What if they think that I'm, that you got me so frightened that, he's like, which couldn't never happen. He said, everybody knows that. He said, my sister, all of them know, like, he said, but still yet, he said, what if he said, I don't want them messing or hurting with you. And that's what caused him to go and talk to a bunch of people in law enforcement that time. Maybe it took 15 minutes off his life. Maybe it took a day. Maybe it took 2 days. Maybe it took a year. I don't know. You can't measure something like that. But these people have caused him stress. They want to point out that, if he'd just get off the internet, he would eliminate the stress for his granddad. Not if you're going to call other people related to my granddad and my granddad finds out, which he will. Not if you're going to do stuff offline to the house. And here again, whatever stress naturally comes from life because of our life, he chooses to have me with him. So he don't have dementia. For the most part, thank God, my granddad never had any major health ailments other than perhaps his blood pressure and some allergies. Some wear and tear in his joints and stuff. Other than that, though, thank God, no arthritis. Thank God, no Alzheimer's. None of that. Thank God. And this is one of the last people alive that made sure growing up I had somewhat of a normal life. That I was thought for, cared for, taken care of, taught lessons, taken to ball games, encouraged, taken to martial arts, taken on trips, making sure, when I fucked up or done something wrong or didn't get my head out of my ass doing my schoolwork or something, made sure to stay on my ass. That man is like my father. And when Lord takes him home, everybody, just about everybody, that had the most to do with my life growing up and making sure I had all the support and help I need to not go down a wrong path or something will be gone. And I'll never have any of them voices back for the rest of my life once the last one's gone. And this is my fucking precious time with him. And you people have decided to try to interfere with it, along with everything else. And you got the fucking nerve to say that you want to help. There's a very easy way to help that requires little to nothing on your part, but you won't do it. You insult the very idea of what being 100 or being straight up is. Every single one of you. You see yourself as some troll or part of the cool kids group popularity. You want your life to be sacred, valued, and protected, yet you feel mine is afforded and guaranteed none of those and shouldn't be. You see your family as precious, important, and worthy, but yet you see mine as less. You see yourself as valued. You see yourself as, a person that has a right to be on and speak your mind. But what is the right to speak your mind? Is it the right to just say anything at all, no matter the regard for the effects of it? Is that really what speaking your mind is supposed to, is that really all the founding fathers cared about when they made freedom of speech? Everybody, Charles might not be a dickhead, but everybody in the neighborhood's got the right to say he is just because they love to give him shit. I'm sure Thomas Jefferson said, yeah, we got to put that in there because I'm so tired of people fucking trying to make you feel bad for fucking, everybody always shitting on one person. Like we got to make it to where that's no, that's not why they made that, so that people wouldn't be afraid to express their views about how the country was being run, about corruption and different things. It wasn't about being able to say so and so's mom, blah blah blah, this. And just because maybe legally by law you somehow can, and there's nothing, I mean, it doesn't mean that spiritually and morally there's not a cost, that you're not taking out, that you're not putting out bad energy. And what you put out, you get back. And I know that includes me. Even when I'm defending myself or clapping back at people, I'm at least fucking responsible and aware enough in my mind to know I can justify and say it's warranted. I can do all that. But at the end of the day, I can't I can't ignore the fact that the spiritual law says, you know, it doesn't say exception unless you're attacked first. It is what it is. But what about the stuff that came before I attacked any? Because see, like Andrea had the nerve to bring up Johnny Goble. When I first came across Johnny Goble, you got to understand and look at it from my mind if you want to understand what was going through my mind and why I did what I did. If you don't want to understand that, then you can just make up whatever, uh, you know, best narrative and idea that goes with what you want to think or you tend to believe. That's on you. But here's how my mind went. This guy's talking about Ryan Upchurch. Well, I want to learn about this. You know, I've always liked Ryan. Start learning and hearing about it. Whoa, Ryan's doing all what? Huh? You know, then coming across Cammy. Do you want to know why on that first live stream? Which, yes, it was. I'm able to admit that it was a fucking blunder. It was a lack of thought. But you have to understand, I come from the South. I come from, while I don't want to go out of my way to try to offend somebody, if they get offended at my rights and the stuff that I hold sacred that the founding fathers did, when it comes to level stuff like that, I don't give a shit. You know, you can hate guns and you can hate me for having one and point, but all I didn't point it at the screen at the person. I didn't, you know, sit there and go, I gotta get me. I wonder who's gonna get it next. Yeah, I didn't do any crazy shit like that, but I did mess with it. And you know what? You know what my thought was when doing it, and after she dropped down, it didn't click at first. But I thought, oh yeah. Well. I was like, all right, because my thought about it was, I don't give a shit. You know, people see or know. Um, and I had to experience that and be like, yeah, but at the same time, you know, it's not like she's like the person said, you know, why do you have that? You shouldn't be allowed to own that. No, they, I don't know. Some people, other person would have saw it. Somebody else from my area or whatever would have been up there, saw it, and been like, they've been like, what kind is that? That's nice. Hey, show me that trigger. Let me look at that. Let me see the bear. You know, somebody just as different on the panel could have responded differently. Or they could have straight up been like, hey, man, what the fuck you doing with that thing? Like, but it is what it is. But I wasn't doing it to fucking, you know. So that's just one of them things that you go through and you figure out, like, you know, maybe when you got somebody on there that you like to shoot with or something, that wouldn't, you know, whatever, you know. But coming across Johnny, I heard myself say Johnny say that he was a CI and stuff. That was spicy and juicy. And I was interested in that because I ain't never met nobody that, at least not anyone that admitted to me that they was. And then the Cami Lives and the phone call with the police. You could say what you want, but not just me. A lot of people bought that shit at first. Some people very quickly, you know, reversed their decision, said, no, too many things. It took me a minute. You have to understand, Cammy was the only person I reached out to, started doing stuff together. As far as I'm concerned, that was the only person like I felt like I could go to and shit at the time, or Creek. I had no one else. If I had somebody else, they could probably have been telling me, dude, she's striking you along and she's getting you to repeat her shit, and you're gonna look like a fool. And then you probably get mad at her and go at her, and then it'll backfire. You know, I wish I would have had someone that gave me that warning. At least then, if I didn't heed it, you know, they could say, you know, I did tell you so, but that didn't happen. And then when I kept going and kept going back and forth, you know, and she friends with Scooter Baggins and shit, I'm on the phone for 3 hours with her and Creek that night. 3 fucking hours. And it's not like I kept saying, y'all stay on the phone with me. Stay. No, 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 no. They had no problem staying on the phone that long. They was the ones that ended up cutting off the phone. And I said, yeah, it's been a long time. Later on, a lot of time passed after Creek was no longer cool with Cammy. She did tell the truth. It's on one of the lives from the archives. She said, yes, we did threaten you with Scooter. We did say we would get you to be the next Johnny Go. Well, I said, and did y'all go ahead and fucking refer me to the trolls, even though I swore to God I would back off? And I said, if I don't, like, do what you do. She said, yeah, that's true. She did it. And she Creek straight up said, but Cammy said, fuck him. He's already done enough. I don't give a fuck. She's like, if he'll back off, good. But that doesn't mean I'm going to be responsible if they start going at him. And that's exactly what she said. So, it's whatever. But through all this stuff and all the crucifying of me, I've done a lot of things for other people I didn't even intend to do. She became good friends with Roma Army and got a little gig helping her on the side and probably been making money with her. You're welcome, Cammy. Mr. Fusion and them got money donated by Roma and stuff after they turned her and got her to realize that she'd rather be able to be easier to ignore me if I tried to bitch about her doing me wrong than to worry about a group, even though not that big, still big enough to cause an issue. So Roma even probably gained some of them as subs, even though they couldn't give a shit less about paying attention to her. So thanks. You're welcome, Roma. And you got Cammy. You're welcome. What else? All these channels that turn their back on me and then got a temporary amount of new subs and viewers. Even if they don't come to your channel, which a bunch of them don't, like Jules, for example, she still got them as subs. You're welcome, Jules. Gene Team and them got a bunch of views and stuff, more engagement because of me being over there when Buddy trolled. And now they're trying to recreate it by actively hating on me. A lot of people have gotten shit out of me. $400? Book's got a couple hundred. All the money helping send him. I mean, but I got no empathy though, right? My dad said it. Doesn't matter what the context of why my dad was saying it, but he said it, so it must be true. uh, I really don't wish this, but in an alternate universe, I wish I had no I wouldn't mind not having any empathy at all, and but at the same time, I wouldn't want it to make it to where like I would hurt others. But if I could not have any empathy or sense of a heart and just not fuck with people ever, I would cause myself a lot of potential grief and disappointment. I'd save myself that, and I would never have to worry about being taken advantage of. So I really wish that I had no empathy, but not in the sense of like I wouldn't mind being negative and being a bully or shit. I don't think that'd be such a bad like if I could guarantee that while I wouldn't have any empathy for others and probably wouldn't develop a lot of relationships, maybe none, I wouldn't also have to worry about because in my short life I've had more relationships screw me over than I have been good. I've had plenty of people that have been good to me. Sometimes even people that have been good to me when I was not myself a couple of years back. And, even to this day, if I ran into them, it would be good to me. And, like, I'm not proud of everything. Uh, I have sin. You know, I never claimed to be a fucking perfect person. Not to them, not to the trolls. I just said that, you know, from what I could gather initially watching these trolls, that they said they go after scumbags, scammers, people like that. You have no proof of me doing any of those type of things, but yet you still came at me. I've never had a woman trapped in my house like Durkee. I ain't ever strangled a woman. You've got what bullshit Kayla fed you, but were you there? Do you have the proof? Did you even bother trying to ask me to get, like, for instance, my friend that was there and his ex-girlfriend at the time to talk about it and find out all aspects before you made up your mind? No, you didn't. So that's all right. It's just funny how all these things they stack up and say that supposedly have. If you are correct, I gotta tell you, then that's pretty fucking, like, that's alarming and concerning if what you said was actually true, because that would mean that I am just Mr. Always getting out of way and away with this shit. I mean, I'd be the luckiest person from my county able to do the most supposed bad shit that y'all say, and you've had people lie for you and gotten away with it. Nobody else around here has. A bunch of people I grew up with that will never work nothing more than a low entrance job or factory if they're lucky, because they couldn't get away with shit around here. This is not the place you get away with shit with. Everybody knows you. Everybody knows each other's families, especially when your grandparents are in the fucking public school system, the school board, on, you know, involved in a church. Like, they know you. They know who you are. People like to act like that Saul got me out of the trouble with the wreck. Here's how that didn't jive. While yes, Saul was a mayor, that's what they point to. Oh, he was a mayor. You know the power. He was a mayor in the fucking 70s, 30 years before I was even a fucking twinkling. 30 years before I became a twinkle and then a sperm and then fucking got developed. That's how. And then another 20 years passed before I started working for him. You really think that he would have pull to get some little fucking young 20-year-old out of trouble just because he fucking, you know, became a friend of mine? Oh, Penelope. Well, dude, Penelope, if you talked about me now, like, I'd like, you want to come up here and tell me? Because I'm not watching that dude stuff. You guys aren't causing a problem with blind. I privately messaged him after I left earlier, a little while after I left. I went and privately messaged him, and I was frank and blunt. Because apparently I wasn't frank and blunt enough to begin with. So I was very frank and blunt. We're not just having a spat. We're not going to kiss and make up, dude. Penelope, we're not. Like, what did this channel have? Like 160, 173, barely 200 subs? You tell him, you told Penelope, don't, I'm not going to believe them that you've been up there talking shit about me. But if you said anything critical or whatever, if you'd please come up, let me know. That'd be cool. Um, I can understand you being critical about, at first, uh, you know, like But that's the thing. The reason why I come in and when I come to a new channel and I make sure to cover this and try to get everybody's attention and give them a brief on it is because I have been through it again and again. I know what's up, and I make it very clear. I told him, I said, look, I was like, I'm not just gonna not fuck with you either, because you know, like I even decided, you know what, I'm gonna do what nobody will expect me to do. I'm gonna be cool with going over there, not worry about a wrench. I'm not gonna worry about the people in the chat. If it bother, you know, I'll block if need be myself personally. But I made it very clear to Blind, like, you know, I don't need to be read their shit. If they're trying to ask me something or state something about me, like this is why I wanted them blocked because I knew he wouldn't be able to not ignore them. And then he started mentioning what they're saying and shit and the bullshit. I'm like, dude, some of it I've already went over before, and you just can't remember. And I understand it's just normal, but this is why I was like how I was at first. I was like, so please don't read that shit to me. Like, if you want to read it, if you know, and you know what, if he wanted to read it and he wanted to talk and he wanted to do what he wanted to do on his channel at that moment, and I wasn't vibing, he said, okay, hey brother, I am gonna, you know, give into this and look into it and read it, and you can either stay up here and answer it for me, or you can, you know, leave. I don't want to disrespect you if you don't want to hear it. And I'm like, well, man, I have covered it, and I'm sure I've covered it on lives if you want to go look many, many a time, so many that it's becoming redundant. And at this point, it's giving them a win by going over it again and again and again and again, because then they get to laugh. So, no. And I would have said, have a great rest of the stream, and I would have left. Because I know they would be saying, he can't do that. You know, he'll be mad and flip out. So I was prepared to do that. Well, instead, I can't tell if he put me backstage. I think he did. Because unless I'm able to click on myself and hit remove from stage, and I did that accidentally, I got put backstage. Not kicked, but put backstage. And I said, I messaged in the back. I said, dude, let me up. I guess I fell off or something. You know, I didn't even start to say, like, oh, you motherfucker, you kicked me. No, I gave him the benefit of the doubt. I said, man, I must have fell off stage. So I re entered so he'd hear the ding. And he's like, oh, man, you need to chill out for a second. You being rude. I'm like, you just let Andrea up after she was rude in chat. You told her to stop it. She came up on panel, and even though you said stop it, she did it again. This is why Andrea's kicked from my channel currently, because she'll do that. Every now and then, though, she'll come back and she'll play by the rules very temporarily, enough to get you comfortable, and then she comes back out, you know, swinging, and you know, say, okay, my bad, I didn't mean to bring it up. 5 minutes later, literally brings it up again. And then she cries and says, you were rude to me. You attacked me. You put a target on my back. I didn't put a target on your back. I made it very clear that if you don't want to be in this chat on your main account because you're scared to be targeted, you can make an alt and you can privately correspond with me what it is. And the only way I'm going to ever leak that alt is if I find out you're being two-faced and talking both outside both your necks behind it. It's the only way I would ever leak it and say she was here and she was scared to be on her own channel. If you just said, hey man, I can't, you know, even though I'm on an alt and they don't know it's me, I just got to move on to other stuff, man. I'd be like, you know, I'm disappointed and you're kind of leaving me hanging, but you never did do me wrong, so I'm not going to talk about you. And I would mean it. And that's what I would do. But nobody's ever able to do that. They gotta fucking go get their little 15 minutes of fucking momentary fame and attention because they're the newest square gossip. So I didn't cuss blind out. I didn't I didn't cuss him like a sailor. I didn't call him a bitch. I didn't threaten him. I'll post messages if I need to, but I legit told him what I thought, and I said, "It's all right, man. It's all peace. I'm not gonna." No, what I meant by that was, it's all peace, as in free will and all that, right? But I can't co-sign it. I can't fucking be cool with it. It violates a boundary, you know. And I told him, I said, watch, in time, you will see what I told you will come true. And if not in the exact way I said, a similar fucking alternative with different variables, it will still happen. And he said, man, blah, 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 you're so narrow-minded and da-da-da, just bullshit. And he's like, and then I just said one more thing. I said, no, man, you clearly, how many subs did you have? Like, whatever. I was, what about that day I came up on the road and you were talking about something you was having, trouble with, you were down. And what did they do to you in chat? Did they respect you? Did they fucking, no, did any of them try to come up on panel and say, hey, man, like, don't let it get you down, man? Or not? No, I did that. And my fucking service went out, and I thought it kicked me out completely, but I was still backstage. And then you ended the stream, and you know what? I was hearing noise coming from my phone's ear thing, if you hold your phone up to your ear type shit. I didn't have my earbud in. I put my earbud in, and I'm like, oh, is he still alive? Because I thought you'd ended. And no, I was still backstage, and your shit was on. And I don't know what you said at first, but then I heard you say, like, no, I don't need to. And you was, and real quickly, I heard you bring up, kind of go into specifics. And see, I'm still not revealing it, but we went into specifics. And then I was like, oh shit, that's when I saw you off stage. So I exited, I hung up. I could have fucking recorded you. I could have sat there and recorded that shit for collateral just in case, because I didn't think that you would fucking end up being solid. I really didn't. But I didn't have that set in my mind either. I'm just, on the fence. But when I heard and realized and I'm still sitting back there, that I could have eavesdropped, I fucking left. I'm not even going to say the one sentence or whatever that I heard, because it's nobody's business, and it's not like it would probably bother you anyways. But just so you fucking know, I was back there, and I could have, like, been a little dirty son of a bitch, but I wasn't. Believe it, don't believe it. All of them are going to tell you it's bullshit, and that's fine. She said wrong, so you're lying. If you got the truth, then make a clip about it. Receipts, because I don't believe what anybody says till I confirm it. But it's just fucking ridiculous, and you're not gonna get, just like I told him, I said, you're not gonna get no satisfaction from me. You're not gonna get no streams titled after you. You're not gonna get me to snipe you. You're not gonna get me to. If I do end up reviewing something of yours or whatever, it would be private. I would do the review, post it. That's it. It's not going to get no live attention and none of that. And I don't think I'm even going to do that, because I have already, just by going over to your channel and letting you on mine, I have already caused you to get a surge of subs. I've caused you to get some attention and everything else. And instead of just, maybe, I don't know, like, doing what you said, which was I'm not going to let people steer my channel. I'm not going to let people run it and stuff. You're letting them run it. Do you think it was your idea? It wasn't your idea to talk about me. It wasn't your idea to get Fusion up there. You had decided okay to doing it. Sure, I believe that. But you didn't mastermind this. They got you dancing like a fucking puppet on a string. They flooded your channel with viewer bots for fucking crying out loud. They almost porn bombed you. Or did porn bomb you, actually, and you had to restart. That's right. You know, do I have to keep going? Do you realize what they said about Brit? They repeated fucking Deadly Doolittle fucking vile shit and ran with it, even though later on, or before, whatever, I don't know if it was before, it might have been even before, it might have been after when fucking they done called him out for the Hello Kitty and the butterfly symbol shit. But they ran with his, they knew it was a lie. And it was something foul to say about Brittany. I mean, it brings kids into it. It brings real life into it. And it was very disrespectful to Brittany. And it's sad that I feel like I've got more I don't feel like, I know I got more respect. Because if you had any respect for yourself and your fucking people you call friends, you would not have done what you did. Period fucking point blank. You didn't even give it a fucking 2 weeks or a full week without getting distracted by the trolls bullshit. You couldn't even not entertain them for a whole stream. Every stream, there has been some entertainment of trolls, even though I've told you on Discord, live, chat, Penelope told you, probably Britt mentioned it, even El Chichi when she was still playing her part. Everybody has told you. Legit, everybody. Not just me. It's not like I've been all alone going, hey, hey, hey. Like, no, I've had people with me. Other people that you have been cool with and stuff, and some, even your friends, you say. But that wasn't enough, apparently. I mean, with as level-headed as you come across, I figured at the very least you would have gave me, you know, a little bit of a, I don't know, what you call it, an opportunity to, like, you wouldn't, when I'm up there talking with you, you're thinking about what you're going to say, and you just disagreed with me to disagree with me. You tried to say and act like it was a bigger deal. I made a fucking, however ugly, I made a wish, like that's worse than fucking shitting on someone's grandmother's grave. I guarantee you if I were to go to Hood, or they tried to do that shit on some people from the Hood, or anyone else that, you know, doesn't give a fuck about going to jail or anything, that motherfucker that shit on the grave, he'd be fucking dead. But, you know, like, I actually give a shit about my life. I don't want these people to ruin it. I'm not going to allow them to. So you know, I have to fucking just get over it. But I don't have to be okay with it. And you wouldn't be either. You say all this shit happened to you, dog, before. What'd you do? Lose the channels you had? Like, and you said that you attacked back too, but you didn't ever say you stopped attacking. You never did really fill me in into your whole situation. And how and just you acting like, oh, your situation couldn't be worse than mine or just the same. You were saying that, dude, before you even pretended to hear me out on some of it. To get like you didn't even want to get to know all the specifics before you made that fucking rush judgment. You just assumed it had to be the same. You think, just like with KC, just because that you somehow eventually bored them to death enough that they change. How do you know that somebody that ended up taking over or becoming a leader didn't just decide that you weren't worth it anymore and switch targets? And if that's what happened or something else, and you got a resolution to it finally, that's fucking great. A-okay, dandy for you. I wish mine would go the same way. But the reality is, if you were going to truly be unbiased and look back in the past, you would see not once but twice I tried fucking peace talks with them, did the peace talks, and they didn't stick to it. They immediately fucking, they'll say, oh, he went right back to the old behavior, whatever. No, they immediately didn't hold true to their word. And yeah, still being as new as I was and not used to, and had no idea they were going to fucking basically flip it around. And they just tested me, to see if I could, even if they didn't hold it up, keep mine. And that's some dirty shit to do, especially when they started the shit. If I had done something and they said, hey, I thought we had a deal. You think if I said, well, I was just testing you, which is exactly what they said to me, and they tried to act like, oh, we were testing you, that's all. We didn't break our word, we were just testing you. If your word was you wasn't going to do anything, and as long as I didn't do anything, and you broke it, how are you going to fault me for breaking it, and then give yourself an excuse because it was a test? It wasn't, we wasn't starting back up. They say, how the fuck? I can't confirm that, and I don't fucking believe it. My heart tells me you're full of shit. And then it happened again. Another peace talk. And every day, and then later on, when Fusion and them had trouble in house with somebody, and they was asking them like, but y'all was being cool square. He said, it's a goddamn troll. There was never any peace talk. It's a fucking troll, he said. It's a goddamn troll. So in other words, they wanted to torture me more by making me think, if I open my mouth, I break the peace talk. If I bitch at them for breaking the peace talk and doing something or fire back, they're gonna, but you know what? That was all illusions. They wanted me to torture myself thinking they wasn't gonna fucking stop. There's plenty of people that are watching this right now. Some maybe that would, don't want to be targeted with things. I get it. And they are fucking. There's a reason I keep some viewer retention. There's a reason I get consistent amount of likes and stuff. I'm not fucking going around on alt after alt after alt liking my shit. Although they'll fucking run with that, you know. And I appreciate my unknown, or not unknown, some of them are known, but I appreciate my basically my viewer and supporter base, even though they have to remain in the shadows. That's a shame. But I get it. I do. I get it. And I wasn't ever coming at any of y'all because, uh, who was it? Andrew or Paula. It was like, just because I said what I said to Paula. Paula's a lot different. She's pre-worky bird. She was in with the bullshit. For her to tell me when she's already getting targeted that we got to keep our friendship private and secret because I don't want any more targeting or anything. But I got people like Pitbulls, Harlow, etc., Penelope, who can come in here no problemo as themselves, 10 toes down, not worried. But I'm supposed to be like, like, how could I not call out fucking Paula for that? I'm like, number one, you're already being targeted. I'm like, so you want to cower and fear more? And I should have never went along with it at the beginning. By doing it, by not saying right off the rip, no, that's not right. I'm like, after everything you were involved in against me, like, I appreciate the apology and I accept it, but if you're not going to back it up by doing a 360 turnaround, then I mean, we just need to shake hands and walk away. That's what I should have said. That's what I should have said. But no, I let myself get attached. That's why I'm gonna have to stop trying to get attached with the people I meet online. You know, even if I meet someone online, I never meet them. I have a wonderful, beautiful, God, she's fucking beautiful friend from Texas that's Latina, and me and her used to do conference call. Like we were in part of this group and program selling this shit. Like we were both maybe thinking about getting into sales. Both of us have changed our mind and said, yeah, sales is for the birds. For other people, they thrive in it, not us. And you know what? I never met her. I've seen her. I've been on her Facebook. I've all that shit. Talked to her before while working. I mean, she's told me stuff. I've told her stuff. One day we might end up meeting. Because we have an actual fucking developed, genuine based friendship. She had said hi to me here a while back. I ain't talked to her in probably 3 years. So when I meet people online, like, unless they don't want to be friends, which I have to respect because I do respect freedom of association. Uh, you know, I at least try to be amicable with them, and if they can't be that, then I just fucking don't fucking fuck with them. These people claim to hate me, can't stand me, all this shit, but they fucking cannot stop following me around. Blinds, I think he had said, didn't he, that he could, like, he sees why they keep making maybe content and stuff because they just enjoy doing that or what have you. He's like, I've known people like that, I think he said, but he said, you're claiming that they're following you around. He had made it seem like, it kind of, it makes you look like paranoid, like it's kind of like some Danny shit. I believe that's something to the effect that's what he said. And then somebody had ended up before I got going, they cut off, and I interrupt too. So if somebody interrupts me, I'm not gonna be like, you interrupt, unless they're fucking not a friend, because I know I interrupt and step on people. And I just let them talk, and I don't even think I ever addressed it back. But that is crazy, Danny. You don't I got a fucking clip of fucking your new little buddy that that you let up earlier, and after I heard you say that, that's when I for sure left because I was like, oh shit, he planned this. If he didn't plan it, he's had it brewing as an idea, and when I came in and wanted to come up, he figured that he's going to go ahead and do it now because you were specifically challenging me. You didn't agree with, like, you didn't even give the reasons on some stuff, and some stuff like you agreed with, and others you just like you disagreed and challenged everything. That's how I know like that wasn't a genuine conversation. It can have been, man, because then you tried to say like I was putting words in my mouth. I didn't. I bring up the fact, these fucking people talked about Penelope. All right. Period. No more, nothing else. Now this motherfucker goes into fucking detective mode and says, dude, she doesn't care about the and like, and I don't care. He's like, wait, what? So now you're implying, and I said, oh, wait, dude, I didn't imply shit. I didn't imply anything. I just stated a fact to point out that they're two-faced. And they're not like, they fucking put her name, her first name, and her picture out in my channel. And see, you're too quick to say, so what? Who cares? So you're telling me that if one of your buddies saw me do that or whatever, even if your response is so what or whatever, you ignore it. That's great for you, man, if you're at that level or whatever. But you cannot fucking not understand, not empathize, and not listen to other people who aren't at that level, or who maybe are getting people come at them from so many different ways that it's damn near almost an impossibility, or not a found possibility yet, how to achieve that for my specific situation. You said your situation ended, mine hasn't. If your situation was still actively going on and I saw you resisting everything and bro, I would legit just want to be down in the chat and watching you, maybe be up on panel. But then again, if I do that, I'd bring my trolls. If I knew you was going through something similar and I come across you and found you that way, I would have tried to get a hold of you possibly, and I would have asked you, man, like, help me, give tips and stuff if you can in a nonchalant way when you're on stream talking down. I was like, because I want to learn from you. I was like, I'm going through the same shit, man, and like my mind is not fucking fortified for it. And the problem was like how all this started was I came on here as somebody that had just embraced like group therapy and all that other stuff before I came back home from rehab. And I never was the type to open up, bro. I used to cry fucking at people who fucking tried to talk to me and shit when I was little, at 3, 4 years old. Because I had been such isolated and was alone and always had my way, my world, my environment, my family, people that, treated me and that I just, I was completely not. You want to talk about sensitive? Yeah, I've been this sensitive since I was fucking born. People want to say, "Oh, I'm crazy and it's a cult shit." Dude, the fucking knowledge from indigenous African descendants that I was very lucky and not even, you don't even get it. I'm the only legit fucking European person that has as much of that knowledge that I have. There is another European who is a millionaire who has a couple companies, very successful. I saw them together in a photograph because he said, you probably, don't believe me. He said, look here. He said, but, there's a bunch of things even he does and is aligned with that is completely everything my mentor friend is against. And I said, how are you able to be his friend? He said, because on the very important stuff and based upon his energy, his karma, and everything else, he said, I know he's not bad. He said, but he just He said he just has some your people's way of thinking about things that always get y'all in trouble. And he said he'd laugh after saying something like that. Like he never would say it to be offensive, and I never took it offensive. Um, because he straight up told me, he said, you know, I said, so the Europeans, I was like, why do, you know, we have, do we control everything? He said, well, y'all have always wanted to control everything. He said, and that's what you did. He said, one of our people enabled one of your people to know all this stuff. And then when they took it back to Britain and the monarchy took it and they got the best of the best people, the writers, people that knew how to make ciphers and different things. Like, I mean, you have Shakespeare was in that time and was a part of helping to write different things I believe that have to do with the Bible. I could be wrong on that. Maybe I heard that from somewhere that was a lie. But I do fucking know that a lot of very talented and famous people had helped get the King James Version commissioned. But it is the number one. Life, things work and how to respond appropriately to them. You may naturally through random, you know, do respond. I mean, we do respond appropriately to things without even realizing it. And that's why life goes in a flow state like how we want. You ever had those times when life is just going exactly the way you couldn't think of any better? And it was so great. And you just thought, you know, like, God, let's keep this going. But then later on, next thing you know, after you made a decision, maybe it takes a day or two and then, or a little longer, but eventually that decision bears its fucking fruit and it's bad fruit. The worst part is having those problems and then not learning the lesson from them. Because this is another spiritual law. In every challenge or issue that you face, where there's a problem or a loss, or you fail in some way, or you don't do what you actually should have spiritually done, it's all about righteous and unrighteous. An action that benefits one and is bad for the rest is just as bad as an action that benefits the greater good. In other words, everybody else, but not the one. In other words, the only true righteous actions are ones that are mutually beneficial, mutually exclusive, and, you know, not unfairly leaned so that one is basically taking and the other one's losing. If so, it's an unrighteous action. If you have a family you support and you're the only one working, but you have a very good heart too, and you run into this guy who's just such a smooth talker and is really likable at first, and he's very careful at how he plays his game. Eventually, he tells you something and you feel real bad. And then he says, look, he says, I don't want to keep you any longer. You know, um, I appreciate you talking to me, but I'm sorry. May I please, is there any way you might could give me your info, if loan me a little money, and I will promise as soon as I can sometime. I don't know when. I won't lie to you. I'll pay you back. If you're a really, really generous person, and, you know, like I said, the conversations went very good for the past couple minutes, unless you're very broke, been burned a bunch of times before, what have you, you give it to them. And you never see them again. Maybe you thought as you left, you probably won't see them again, and it's fine if you don't, because you just did a good thing. But at the end of the day, that person will only know if you did the right thing, depending upon what they do with it. But if they don't pay you back, I mean, but here's the problem though. If you have a family you take care of, and you are tight on money, but you do that because you're such a nice person, too damn nice and trusting, and you give it to that person, they never see you again, never plan on paying you back, and you did expect them to pay you back, you just took $50 away from your self sustenance and your family sustenance, more importantly, and you potentially have caused them to go with less. So, in the action of making that choice and giving it to him, which seemed like it was selfless and for the greater good, perhaps, or at least you hoped, in reality, it caused you to have less. So, it's actually an unrighteous action. And see, these things are determined not based upon whether the universe or God, whatever you, I like to refer to God and spirit as the universe, but regardless, it's not based on whether they like you, how well you've been doing, how good you are overall. It's not based on any of that. Just like with our physical laws and laws of physics, this stuff is, it is unbiased towards favoritism or anything. It just works. It's the structure. It's what allows things to not be just complete chaos. The structure of our physical reality. Without it, without some of our laws of physics, the whole fucking world would probably just be in nothing but chaos 24/7 if it could even sustain itself in such a state and somehow survive. If our sun gets just a little bit too fucking dark and permanently, and temperatures change for, you know, forever, like the temperature. I mean, some parts of the world may that were once almost never cold most of the time out of the year are fucking now always cold. Like, all we have to fucking do is suffer EMP. If we were to suffer an EMP attack in the western part, central part, and eastern part, just I say just three probably. 3 EMP attacks. And if they could somehow, if somebody done 3 EMP attacks theoretically on, you know, those 3 sections of the country, at least, and got them smack dab in the middle of each section, I think our fucking whole infrastructure, probably some sites and stuff the government has, would survive because they'll have protections in place, but our regular power system, shit, we're fucked. Every house will be immediately without power. It would take for a long time and labor that we're not going to have because people are going to start panicking and they're not going to be going to work. So hopefully, and if we ever experience something like that, what ought to happen is somebody ought to set up a organization that's nonprofit, gets a lot of support, and has people that are set up take an oath to volunteer that in the event of something like that and the workforce collapses of the people needed to fix it aren't their MI because of the state of things. Their job and their purpose is to fucking get it back online. And that could fucking help reverse shit. You know, we need shit like that. I think the Department of Government expense, this Doge, is the most fucking thoughtful thing I've ever seen a president come up with. I don't like that it's an executive action because I worry that it could be reversed by the next president. They need to fucking get the Republican controlled House and fucking Senate to make it permanent where they can't fucking revoke it unless they got another majority vote in the House and Senate because that shit never needs to go away. They fucking are hating on Elon right now because he's fucking uncovering all types of shit that's obvious fraud. And the Democrats can't stand it. Can you imagine that we actually don't have as much debt as we think we do? Did you ever think that could be a possibility? Well, let him keep working, and once they get it all analyzed, he's able to put it through an AI big ass supercomputer. We might not be as bad off as we thought we were. That would be great. You know, I am not gonna hold my breath, but if we're even a trillion or something, anything a little bit over, and not really got some false debt or misaccount, like, or if something wasn't applied or money that was supposed to be go there didn't go there, went somewhere else, they could probably reverse that shit, undo it, or at the very least, maybe because it wasn't done right, they could just cancel that debt off and it be considered, you know, an all right thing to do without breaking any. I don't know why, man. Like the fucking, we got out of the fucking World Health Organization, which I couldn't believe Trump did. That's an organization Obama bent to, Bush. Ever since it opened, the damn thing is run by a fucking board of directors that have ties to Bilderberg and all that other shit, and they fucking believe in eugenics. They have openly stated they want to cut the fucking world population down because there is too many fucking people to control, and they believe sustain the planet's uh, non-renewable natural resources. In other words, what they their non-renewable natural resources. They see it as theirs. It's a tale as old as fucking time. You know, me and you are consuming their non-renewable natural resources, and they want to live as long as they fucking possibly can. They're looking into life extension technologies, have been, and you know they want to make sure they have as many resources and options to keep their world and keep their lives and the lives of their families going no matter what, and that they rule. And if it means getting rid of you because you're a nuisance or you're threatening them or you're just using too much a problem, they'll take your ass out. I mean, I have no doubt that they will. Look what fucking happened to Bill Cooper. Look what happened to fucking Stanley Meyer. You can say what you want. I've seen a lot of people say that his patents, uh, if you follow them, that basically you run into problems. So the water car was bullshit. But if that's the case, why did it fucking run? Why did it work on camera? Why did he get approached? And how in the fuck were they able to take it? They took it across the country and were able to do it on, I forgot how much many gallons of water it was, but it, compared to gas and its price, at any time, even at its lowest, it fucking saves money. Why did he run out the fucking Cracker Barrel saying they poisoned him? Come on, man. Do you really think that if his fucking patent could teach somebody else to build the damn water car, that they would have wasted fucking getting rid of him and letting the full thing going? I don't believe it's the full patent. I guess you didn't ever think it could be altered or certain things left out so it's not complete. I mean, for fuck's sake. I mean, not everything just because it's supposed to be accurate and 100% legit means it's not tampered with. You have multi-billion dollar interest. They may not chop off heads or nothing like the cartel does. Like, there's methods of fucking influence and getting what they want are much more sophisticated. Doesn't require violence, you know. Person B has a fucking auto accident. Person C commits suicide, you know. Fucking. And if they don't need to do that, and they don't want to do anything like that, I'm pretty sure that all they'd have to do is, you know, run narratives counter to it and explain how and point out any skeletons they can find in the person's closet, whatever. But anybody that's gotten dangerously close, they fucking killed. You know, Tesla, look at what Tesla did, discovering alternating current and everything else he did, and his Wardenclyffe Tower, his electrical wireless transmission. And because of him, we have and enjoy the fucking little wireless technologies connecting stuff that we do. Because of a woman, we have Bluetooth. And even though he still died penniless, they stole his fucking unreleased records and shit. He died in a hotel penniless. I mean, basically, it's almost like a Steve Jobs and fucking Bill Gates' story. You know, at one time he was basically like a colleague with Edison and whatnot, but him and Edison became opposites because Edison went with the DC route, he went with AC. If we still use DC in some instances, and we used to be nothing but fucking DC because Edison wanted a monopoly on it. Can you imagine if we didn't have to have all these wires and electrical lines going down? I mean, yeah, people will start to say, well, what about linemen and different? Well, you just, obviously, you're not going to, that stuff, the changing of the technology will still require, you know, certain time. And maybe the stuff it requires is not as fucking dangerous as shit as being a lineman. You don't have to climb a fucking pole like that anymore and risk fucking shit. You just give the job to those people. You just make sure you have an office in the government called the Office of fucking Social Responsibility, which is basically meant to fucking make sure people are treated ethically and righteously in every situation. When it comes to their jobs, if a job goes out and, you know, they, you know, still have to have a living, so basically they need some help, transitional assistance, you know, not a handout, but help getting placed into a new one. But we don't have stuff like that, you know. It A lot of people will say Republicans cut social programs, and sometimes they do, and I don't like. That's one thing about, you know, I see myself sort of Republican in a lot of things, but when it comes to some social issues, I'm kind of liberally based, and I think that we spend more money giving aid to countries that end up giving us the finger and doing us wrong that we should use that for social programs, making sure our homeless vets are taken care of, etc. You know, not fucking giving it away to fucking uh, god dang whoever it is. I really don't. Not unless they're actively fucking providing something of equal value in return. Even if not equal value, fucking at least a gesture of good faith, something they do back for us. If they don't, fucking don't give them shit. God dang. How can you be a charity to the rest of the world, but you can't even provide charity, basic charity for basic standards of living for some people who are fucking outcasts and the system fails them? The people that actually get the system to help and end up getting taken care of, they deserve it. And they're blessed, though, because there's a bunch of people that don't. And it's because of different reasons. It's not just because sometimes it can be straight up, though, that the person doesn't want to do certain things they have to do to get the help. And that's sad. But that's more on them in that regard. Oh, shit, dude. I just don't get it. I don't get why they had to go and fucking. I wonder if fucking Diddy really had Biggie killed. That Gene, that bodyguard of Biggie's, ex-bodyguard of Biggie's and Sean's, he swears up and down. He says, man, he said, usually it always works out like this. They would ride, he would ride together with Big. He didn't ride together with him that night. Nobody thought anything of that, of course. I think he told him that, I think he recalled by saying, he told Big to go ahead and go on with them, and uh, they follow him. So Sean got with the other people, his security and stuff, got in the car in front of Big and the others, and there was just one more car behind Big. I think Gene was in that one. Maybe he was in the car with Big. I don't know. One of two. But they take off, and he's like, Puff really like they floored through a fucking light before it changes. So Big has to stop, because they don't want to run. He's like, there was cops really close by too. He said, that's the thing. He said, and then they was just gone. He said they didn't. He said if they heard that shit, they fucking just kept driving. Next thing you know, that car ends up pulling up and shoots, and they end up trying to take him to a hospital, but I don't know if they went out of the way or. I need to pull that up when I get back inside. I can't fucking remember the whole story, but it was weird. He said because he said if Puff hadn't ran through that light and waited on, he said usually we all agree on to wait and make sure we all ride together. So everything that Puff did that night was suspicious as fuck. Like he knew fucking Biggie was gonna be assassinated. Gene said that he had got out. I remember he said he got out, he got in the car, and he was talking to Big, and he stayed in the car with Big at that point, and they tried to get him to the hospital. And he said basically all he really said was, he said, they got me. He said they definitely did get me. And trying to keep him awake and shit. Tupac told a cop that was trying to ask him questions before he possibly died or passed out, he told him, fuck you. I doubt he even saw who shot him, though, I wonder. Because you imagine immediately getting shot at, like, unless you're making eye contact with them already. And the people that shot at him, I think they were in, was they in the front or the back seat? No, Keefy D was in the back seat, and he passed a gun to Orlando Anderson, he said, which was his nephew. That's who he got into a fight with at the fucking Mike Tyson fight. They got into it in the lobby, went back and forth for just a little bit. Eventually, people busted it up. Everybody left before the cops or any security came, so nobody got in trouble. And then they leave, and somehow they run into him. They see him getting yelled at by girls saying Tupac's name, and that's when like they didn't even really have it planned. They were gonna try to find him, but they didn't know they'd run into him that quick. But when they did, that's when they shot him. I just can't believe the fucking they didn't hit. Supposedly Suge got grazed, right? And lucky motherfucker. Because of that, some people try to conspiracy theorize that Suge was in on it. I don't think that's possible. Because the gang and shit, I believe Keefy D was in, was a Crip. And Suge is a Blood. But there was talk that Tupac was thinking of leaving Death Row. And they said it got to Suge, of course. And I imagine that was something he always had in the back of his mind, is like, you know, if you watch that movie they made, when he sits there and tortures that guy that he accuses of spending on a bunch of extra shit and just taking money and not even fucking running it by him, he shoves a bunch of shrimp in him and food, and he's like, "Oh, you want some more? Yeah, you want some more? Take that shit. Here, take it." He said, have some fucking champagne, motherfucker. You like the good life, don't you? He said, you want to take from me? And he's sitting there looking at Pac, though, with these eyes, like, staring right at him as he's talking to him, like, trying to, they made it look like he's trying to scare Pac. And he said, shit. He's like, take this motherfucker up out of here. But yeah, people feared that motherfucker, man. I love the scene in the movie where he confronts Easy. He gets him in that recording booth studio, and he says, "Don't make me change you, Eric." That's just it. That and the clip of him saying, "If you want to kill somebody, kids, you don't use a gun. It's messy. It's loud." He said, "That's how you get caught." He said, "Hell, they could even match the bullet casings and stuff. You know, ballistics." He said, that's not smart." He said, "So if you want to kill somebody," he says, they have this thing where you get blood from an AIDS patient and then you stick somebody with it." And he said, "It don't even have to be a needle, or you don't even have to push a bunch of it in there." He said, "All you gotta do practically is get like a little a sewing needle, really coated in that blood, most of it, or something that small. If that shit sticks you, that's all it can take. Much less getting actually stuck with a needle and getting like even just an inch of it pushed in you, and it's deadly." Uh, he said that's a slow death. He said it's an easy E thing, and then he laughs, and Jimmy Kimmel goes, "Oh my god." And he's just sitting there going, I'm like, bro, that saying something like that right there should automatically get him indicted, or at least not indicted. I'm sorry, investigated. Indicted would be violation of evidence and you know. Okay, not indicted necessarily yet, but investigated straight up, because that's damn near, and it's not a direct admission of guilt, but what's the word, or the legal phrase? It's there's a legal phrase for it where it's not direct admission of guilt, but it's culpability. It's an admission of culpability, I believe, something along those lines. By saying that, you know, what do I want? I got the munchies, y'all. Ice cream it is. I can't believe you're gonna be a little pussy. I basically triggered Blind because I sent him a message. I didn't type in no caps or nothing. I didn't call him a name. I didn't necessarily like disrespect him directly or to do it just to disrespect him in any way or be rude. But I straight up said very direct that you know, I didn't know you was that desperate for views, man. Like, you know, you tell me all this stuff and you say, you know, you're not gonna let anybody steer your channel. I was like, that's exactly what you let happen. Tell me you didn't. And then you basically let me cause you to steer your channel right now, even though I didn't cause you or want you to do what you're doing right now, but I don't care. You're doing it because I sent you two, I think two and like a quarter, so just about 2.25 private messages, just real quick ones, not even that big or long. And I said, I didn't know you was that, you know, hungry for views and we're going to be two-faced about it. I was like, you know, you told me to block if it gets serious. That's the first thing he said. This is all truth, by the way. I block. Then the chat starts complaining about it, and I step in, not of course to be rude, but to let you know this is one of the first things they do. If I come to a channel and I get a wrench and I've told you about my issue, they come in here as one account, I block it, right? Then they come in on another account and they act like they're a different person. They're the person that legit 9 times out of 10 just got blocked. And they say, why did so and so get blocked? Like they saw them get blocked or something. They don't, nobody sees it. All they do is they see sometimes stuff disappears. They don't know if they got timed out. They don't know if the message got deleted. They have no, I mean, they don't even know if the person didn't delete the message themselves. It could be a couple of different things. But they say that shit to get your attention on it because they want you to read it, because it's natural to read messages, but you're not in a natural live. You're not hosting a live where people are coming because you got a topic you're sticking to and they're asking you questions about their topic. No, you're actually trying to talk about something, and then all of a sudden they're mad because somebody's moderating that you told could. And I wasn't blocking all the time. I was timing them out too. Because you said not to block unless it was serious. But you didn't say I couldn't time out. So I timed some of them out. Just for like 10 minutes or sometimes 20 minutes. Really, really bad ones sometimes I hit for 24 hours because I was going to tell you that if you do a live, shit, my bad. I was going to tell you if you do a live the next day, after some of them will be untimed out, do a live, make a topic about something. I won't come in at all. I won't even be live, or maybe I will go live, whatever. You go live, I said, I bet you, if I probably especially go live too, or I'm already live and then you go live, I guarantee you none of them will fucking say a word because they'll be over sniping and at that channel unless they're working or something or they're doing something else in their life at the time. I was going to tell you to do that, but I didn't. I ended up fucking forgetting. But I wish I had because I would have made a very good point to you. I wouldn't have been able to tell you publicly that because if any time I say something like that, unless it's something eventually that will happen, if I say something temporarily that they can technically do the opposite, they will. So that's why I wouldn't say that shit publicly because then they're going to make sure to do the exact opposite to try to prove me wrong and make you doubt me. That's just the way this shit goes, dude. You don't realize there was this one channel I went to, and I swear to God, like, the only thing that I can think of is that one of the people that watch some of these channels, fusions, whatever, they must have had a sub there, and maybe there was just no one else live, and so they went by there and they saw me. So they go tell all of them, hey, y'all, Square's trying to fucking da 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 da. Then all of them slowly start coming in the chat. And these people are fucking doing shit like choreography, uh, having really basically just very chill and, you know, just discussion about different things that randomly come up and whatnot or something if it's a topic. And then they're doing little breaks where people take turns or they all singing something together or what have you. They was just having a chill time. And it was run by this lady. And I was over there and I was just trying to get to know them and shit. I didn't bring up anything related to me because I actually thought, well, there's fucking no way, surely anybody's gonna find this channel. The way I found it was, what did I do? I think I went through a feature that allows you to look at stuff like active right now all over the place. And I went down quite a ways and saw that and clicked on it. Random too. Like I wasn't just live and ended. Like I had been not live for probably not since that morning. And this was at night. I was there maybe a total of just 45 minutes. Boom. They start coming in. You talk about, like, I mean, start trying to get on the fucking panel. Completely interrupt their live to be like, do y'all know who this guy is you got over here? Blah, blah, blah. They have never fucking just sat back in the bushes and said, let's watch this and bet on how he's gonna fuck it up without interfering. If they did, they would always, nobody would win anything. If they did, they did, but they've not even ever fucking done that. They fucking can't. Want to talk about Marquette? Bro, Marquette had an ass with no wrinkles or anything, wasn't fucking a BB, didn't have no Brazilian butt lift or nothing, natural. Cute ass tit, boobs. Not fucking overly big not overly small either. All them people I counted tonight, that's no bullshit. I can name them. Not only can I name them, most of them I can recall. Maybe if I sit there and think a second, even all of them I can recall certain experiences. Hell, I'm chatting with one. Well, I got one reply back from her when she's back around. That network her once she gets minutes. I tell you what I'm about to do. I'm about to find a way to get over there, see my bud who is moved back, and I'm about to reback. I'm about to hook up with her. Sure am. She's single, and she originally came to me and wanted my number. And she remembers me. Because I was straight up like, hey, do you remember me? I'm like, worst that can happen is she say no, but of course she did. Her and one other time in high school is the only time I've had two. Well, that and my party with BFF. Well, what's a good rhyme for her name? Lega. We'll say Lega. Fuck it. Uh, Lega. When she got us drunk that night and shit, I ended up losing over it and being with a second person. We'll call. What's her last name? Okay. Sellers with a Cellars. So Sellers was the second one. And this is a little embarrassing, but fuck it, I'll tell it. I ain't got shit no skin off my back. The first time with the person that you see in my homecoming photo, that's my first. After her, which then she went and hooked up with other dude. There's only me and another dude there, and there was three girls. So that means one girl was legit like just chilling, having to sit in the other room. But that shit was crazy. I ain't never see that shit coming. Kayla dropped me off over there. Me and Kayla hung out earlier that day, just as friends. I sort of had a crush on her then, but I was really shy still and stuff, and I didn't really make any moves. And at that fucking time, Kayla was drinking a beer. Like, I remember us stopping and she got a six pack. And then she drove me over to Crothersville and dropped me off at Lega's house. I mean, that was the last time I seen her until we connected back, and then we ended up when our relationship basically was getting ready to start. This was crazy. It's like our time could have started then, might have even turned out a lot different. Like if we had, but we had talked about that once. She said she's like, she had ended up saying, like, I wish that that day I didn't take you over to your friend's house. She's like, but you were so shy. She's like, I felt bad. She's like, but I also didn't want to, like, come on strong either or anything. I was like, shit, I wasn't cute or nothing. She's like, stop. And she's like, but if you came into my life, then she's like, I probably wouldn't have ended up going to Memphis and getting with this one dude. And that's when because she went to Memphis and went to a psychiatric place there when she was a teenager. She hadn't went yet when I was 15, and she dropped me off that night, but I think she went like a year and a half at the most later. And anyway, so I was with Sellers next. I go in there. First chick, like, was very fucking took control. I didn't do too much. I was pretty much like, I just sat there. But now this one was like, the opposite, and not trying to get too graphic or anything, like, because I know nobody really gives a shit, and I'm not trying to brag or anything either. I'm just sharing the story. Like, honestly, I'm not bragging. It's nothing to brag about because it's actually embarrassing. I shouldn't probably just show up, but so basically, being my first time, didn't have any condoms. Nobody was worried about it either, nor wanted one. Probably was some there that Lega could have got for people, but it all happened so quick, probably spontaneously. So no condoms, none of that. I couldn't. Well, I had a problem. Not like a mechanical problem, but let's put it this way. I didn't do the old hop tour. I didn't spin on that thing. It was basically like trying to fucking put two blocks together or something. One's a square and one's a circle. Like, it just, and I swear to God, this was the worst fucking thing to be told. Oh my God. She's like, she straight up said to me, are you retarded? Bruh, I about died, bro. Like, I felt like my dick was I was like, oh my God. I was like, what the fuck? Yeah. Like, I didn't even have the knowledge to try to play it off and be like, I'm sorry, I was teasing you, like, and try to play it off like that or none. No, I pretty much knew, like, yeah. So she straight up basically told me, yeah, anyways, yeah. So she had to tell me, and yeah, let's put it this way. Uh, I didn't care and got that just about as over as quick as I could. That was a major fucking self-esteem fucking killer. I told my friend Lego, I was like, she's a bitch. She's like, what happened? She's like, don't tell me. She's like, I don't even want to know. What'd you do? I was like, it's not what I did, it's what I fucking didn't know what to do. She's like, oh my God, what? She's like, you haven't read a book or anything? I was like, she's like, you haven't watched porn? I'm like, no. And I seriously haven't at that time. Like, I was so fucking green. I got made fun of it for it. I called, and that's where I got the nickname Square because they called me. So one of my friends called me that one time. She's like, you're a square. She eventually did though when I told her what. She's like, "Oh my God." She's like, "You poor thing." I'm sorry. I was like, "Don't pity me." I was like, "She didn't have to be an asshole. She could have just been like, you know." I was like, "Hell," I said, "Matter of fact, she actually could have." She was like, she busted out laughing. Did she's like, "Did she not?" I was like, "Hell no." I was like, but I did her. I was like, I fucking was a gentleman about it for her. I was like, I tried to make everything up to her for that, but I was like, she was straight up mean, asking me if giving me a question like, "Are you retarded?" No, I'm sorry, I'm a virgin. Like, I'm sorry that I didn't read a book before this. I didn't see it coming. I didn't fucking prepare. Oh, that shit was fucking. And then next thing you know, I tell fucking my friend, we'll refer to him as John Lennon. He fucking was like, God dang. He ended up dating Lega later on, but I never dated Lega. We drew each other's name that night, and it was like, no, like she went with Mike, but we was not about to do anything together. We saw each other as like a brother and a sister. And I never was like, I didn't ever try to make it anything more either because I just didn't see her that way. I saw her as somebody where I could like tell stuff that I wouldn't even want to tell maybe a dude or especially any other girl. And she didn't fuck me over either. And as a trade off, I got to be her fucking boyfriend mediator, especially when she dated my best friend. I had to fucking sit there on the phone for a fucking hour or and a half, listen to them go back and forth and fucking interrupt and call one or the other out. And God, but I did it. Luckily, neither of them got mad at me. My friend was a simp for her. He just worshipped her feet on the ground. But what's crazy is I have no idea what she's doing today. I know that she got a family and stuff. Like one of the last active times I was cool with her was that I can remember most clearly was in college. She was going to college up north. I wasn't, but I drove up. I drove up there. She had a dorm room on campus or an apartment, whatever. I and her family rented, like worked on fixed up houses and had some rent houses. So she came from a pretty good, well off family. Not like rich, rich, but above average. You know, like her mom did it all alone. And her grandma worked at the school with my grandma, and she dated another friend of fucking mine. You know, she was with him when I went up there to up north, and that's when they both got interested, and I showed them all the stuff that I learned in Nashville. about the names and the stuff. And dude, the response I thought wasn't going to be that great. But when they did challenge things and question it, which I opened and welcomed, I didn't care, question things. I told them, all right, we're going to do a simple fucking exercise. I was like, there's no magic to this. There's no strings. I was like, do you got I said, you got a soda, right? Of course you did. I was like, you get me a soda. Uh, I pulled out of my bag the shit that I brought to drink in the morning and water or smoothies. I was like, this is from the dude I got all this from. I was like, his company makes this. I was like, but it's not like a company, like a big ass multinational. I was like, it's, you know, regular people. I said, this fucking stuff has basic, you know how you have vitamins we take? I said, this has everything you actually need, but it's not a synthetic vitamin. See, vitamins are synthetic, and the ones that are natural, but even the natural ones, to make them and put them in that pill form, I said, they have to put the stuff through a lab and mess with the chemical structure some way. Sometimes they're usually heat treated too, so the shit's like processed and in a way cooked, so it's dead just as much as a pharmaceutical is a dead chemical salt. It's an active compound and drug, but the base makeup of it is chemical salts mashed into what we call a pill form, and the pill form is made out of material that is essentially dead and yeah, bad for you. You know, the stuff in it. Hell, especially with how there are some medicines that's not even like pain pills or drugs of abuse that will prednisone. I had a friend on it that later became a client I took care of who lost eyesight in one of his eyes because he had to take prednisone, which is a steroid. And if you take it too long, but you know, he was ordered to be on it that long. You know, they finally, it's something they discovered, and technically, I guess he agreed to, by there was a chance of it, but they didn't disclose that to him. He said, I tried to look into ways to sue for it, but he said, by taking that medicine, I agreed to any risk and stuff. He's like, it's fucking bullshit. But essentially, he lost his eyesight. And then, did you know that even after it did that, the motherfucker was still wasn't taking it the whole time, but as time went on, if he'd go to the hospital or something, he would be prescribed that shit again. I'm like, they gave it to you again? He said, yeah, it's the only thing I can take to help with it. I'm like, dude, aren't you worried this shit could? He's like, well, he said, I know it sounds counterintuitive. He said, but once it's done made me blind once, the odds of it happening again, he said, there really aren't any. He said, he said, plus I only take it for barely a week. He's like, I will never take it as long as I used to. So he said, now if I took it that long, he said, I guess it could, but he said, that's pharmaceuticals for you. I said, man, there's got to be a way that human beings can make medicine that doesn't have shit that does that, but still does what we need it to. And there is, it's called essential oils. Essential oils, herbs, plants, Mother Earth clay, basically. Especially red Virginia clay is really good for your skin. Uh, what else? About 40 plus different herbs that are put together that you can get in a powder form now if you want, or you can get it in the old form, which is a tea that you boil. I mean, and I'm going to tell you now, you can add lemon and stuff to try to help it a bit, but it is bitter as shit. But you think I'm lying to you when I say that you've got dead, clogged, hanging in your colon, stuck, not moving fecal matter and undigested food particles. Just make the tea, drink it, drink some fennel with water only, don't eat shit. That fennel will keep you from getting hungry, it'll give you energy too. You're not gonna starve. And you do that, hell, you're supposed to do it 5 days. If you just do it 3 days, you will you'll become a believer. Either that or you'll just shut it down and say, I don't care. I mean, some people can do that even once they learn. They just don't care. That's why, as people get older, their gut gets bigger and bigger. And if they don't drink, it's not rock solid hard. If they drink, it's not only big and bloated, but it's fucking rock solid hard too. Uh, but that is literally a combination of the intestines packed full of shit, literal shit, all right, that didn't process, they got stuck. It can lead to cancer, and the body and the fucking colon, stomach, intestine, it has to fucking it has to retain water, extra water in there to keep some of that shit in suspension so it fucking doesn't kill you. So 5 to 15 pounds average dead fecal matter plus maybe just 10 at the most if you're young, very young, up to 20 pounds of fucking water weight plus your actual muscle, fat mass and all that. Shit, no wonder. I was fucking 16, I did my first cleanse. I fasted 5 days. I didn't eat anything. On the third day, viewer discretion, trigger warning, graphic. I went to the bathroom. I had to go to the bathroom so bad all of a sudden. Not eating anything, again, just drinking water and fennel, playing Call of Duty Black Ops, smoking blunts. I'd go to the bathroom at my friend's house, and I could tell that it's like, without trying to be too graphic, it's not solid stuff. Some feels like it's somewhat small, solid, but it's just coming out. It's not diarrhea, but it's got some of that too. I finally get done. I take care of myself. I clean myself. I look at the toilet. I see what appears to be, I swear to God, 1 to 2 pieces of like, it was white-ish and had a brownish piece at the end. It looked like chicken strips, which is something I ate a lot. It looked like chicken strips that I had chewed up that had not digested. And then I saw what clearly was identified from books I did research and other things, parasites coming out of me. They were like little, they again, not to gross anyone out, but they're like little circles of brownish, whatever, and then they had these lines that extended out. That's parasite. It wasn't like really squirming around or nothing, but it was parasite. And then I saw uh, some what looked to be like really dark old spots of fecal matter, and the rest like either diarrhea-ish type consistency stuff. I mean, that's not normal. And I swear to God, each time I went to the bathroom and had that, while it wasn't comfortable at first, afterwards, you know how when you go to the bathroom you feel lighter and relieved? Take that and times it by like 4. I felt not just relieved, I felt like my nose and mucus uh, basically buildup was almost non existent. I had no runny nose. I didn't have like a stopped up nose or full of anything that like I could breathe clearly. A lot of the times I suffer from like one nose getting blocked up, not because there's junk in it, but it's just constricted for some reason. None of that. I could breathe. Uh, every time I went to the bathroom too, as time went on and I rested, I felt like my mind was clearer, like I could think faster. I was coming to conclusions of things and making connections to stuff that I hadn't done before. I noticed all that, and I asked about it and reported it and shared it. I said, "Am I going crazy? Am I matching?" And he said, "No, you definitely your IQ will go up some." He said, "It's not going to be a huge amount." He's like, "But stuff like that will happen." He said, "Because you're getting rid of all of the dead stuff that's, you've been used to polluting your body with, which is essentially your temple." He said, "By having us eat this stuff and keeping this culture of this wrong stuff going on and prevalent," he says, "it keeps people asleep. You have less energy. You can't do as much. You're not going to accomplish as much either, spiritually or physically, when you eat all that bad shit. It weights you down, and uh, it just, it literally destroys you." He said most of our organ systems and stuff, even without intaking a lot of anything besides water. He said just by intaking water, if you intake the correct type of water and you're not taking any other form of pollution or eating anything, he said most of your body systems will function incomplete in and of itself themselves. He said they may not grow, they may not expand as much because you're not providing a lot of nutrients, but just from that water alone, they will sustain themselves for a long, long time, uh, more than they will than you eating the standard American diet. He said, what we end up doing is destroying them with what we consume slowly over time. It takes about somewhere between 60 to 80 years for the human body to be destroyed through the eating of unnatural food, pharmaceuticals, drinks, drugs, as well as things like what you call it? What's the word? Being around frequency, putting devices and different things. That's why when you go to nature, you feel very refreshed and stuff because, I mean, your body is an electrical system. When you wear shoes, which are made of rubber predominantly, that is a blocker. It keeps your electricity from not grounding. That's why when you take off your shoes or up until you take them off, you feel frenzied. You feel all over the place, especially after a long day of go, 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 go. You take your shoes off and fucking put your feet in the ground or whatever. Or even just, you know, in your house. You feel 10 times better. It's not just a sensation from being out of your shoes, it's a sensation of your fucking body grounding. When you eat dead, cooked things, even though, yes, they can help sustain us to a certain point and stuff, and we had to eat that stuff for a period of time and we should have stopped. But we kept doing it because when the first person ate cooked food the first time by eating it, it caused a huge immune response and therefore a surge at the same time of energy from all the white blood cells rushing to attack the foreign matter. And it gave the person a sense, you know, of like energy, vitality, excitement. This is a false feeling that it gave. So then each subsequent time of eating it was to recreate that same feeling, and each time it gets more and less intense, just like a drug. And then by then they're hooked on eating it. But it's more than that now. That's how it first started out. And now we're taught that it's the standard American diet. When you have molars for teeth, you have a long colon, not a short colon like a fucking wolf. A wolf has a very small, short, acidic colon. And he has teeth and claws for fucking thrashing and slashing and to tear up muscle tissue and stuff. We don't have the type of teeth to be able to eat something without skinning it and all that and taking off that shit because we wouldn't be able to. There's no way. We have a long alkaline based colon. 36 feet worth of intestines. The mucus buildup, sneezing, runny nose. Have you ever ate? It really, I get it. It tastes delicious because that's what we know. But have you ever ate a really good meal or especially a spicy meal and you noticed your nose just running? I'm talking about just fucking running. Not because of allergies or anything, but just like as a result of you eating all that food, especially if some of it's spicy. Have you noticed after Thanksgiving dinner or any holiday dinner or big celebration where we eat a big meal and people hang out at friends and families' homes and stuff and relax afterwards or watch the Super Bowl? Have you noticed after a big meal, people yawn, get tired, lay down, and take a nap? Why is that? I thought food was supposed to energize, revitalize, strengthen, and rebuild our muscles and stuff. But instead, right after we eat a big meal, people start feeling heavy, tired, and want to go to bed. The African culture even came up with a term for this that they use. They call it the itis. Itis is basically the feeling of getting sleepy after a big meal, especially a big meal that's, got a lot of dressing flavored filled up in it. This came from an older culture and has been passed down, like I said, primarily in African culture and households. And that's where I learned it from. It's also mentioned in the Boondocks. There's an episode where he opens a restaurant. He sells a lot of food that is fat and greasy, chitlins, all this stuff. A triple bacon turkey, fucking extra bacon, Gouda cheese, damn burger that he ended up naming. What was it called? Fuck. What was the name of that burger? Uh, what was the name of that shit? God dang it. I'll think of it before I look it up. The name of the episode is exactly actually called the Itis. I just looked it up. The Luther Burger. That's what the fuck it was. I can't believe I couldn't remember that. A Luther Burger. And what ends up happening in the episode is this chick, she comes there along with a bunch of other people. They start getting addicted to the food. And there's like one guy that works there. He's Mexican. And he actually goes to college for African American studies, or he did once. And the grandpa's Huey, who has a book on from Malcolm X that says "Eat to Live," and he actually catches Huey going around with the book and trying to talk to people and shit. And every time he catches him, he moves him to washing dishes or doing something else. He's like, "Stop trying to preach this bullshit." He's like, "But Grandpa, you killing people." He's like, "No, I ain't." She, he said, He said, "Do you realize what this food is doing to them?" He's like, "Yeah, but it's making us, He's like, and he said something in the kitchen, and he's like, "You can't keep feeding people this stuff. You are killing them." And he said, "He's right, senor." He's like, "Chitlins are the intestines and stuff of a pig. And back during the slave days, slaves would get the refuse and parts like this, and so they had nothing else, so they had to eat it to survive." He said, "But it was a survival technique. They stopped doing it after it was no longer necessary." He said, "I don't think people are supposed to eat this, at least at the very least, not regularly." And everybody looked around at each other like, where the fuck? Where'd he come from with all that? He's like, "What? I can't take a course of African American studies at the community college?" And he's like, "Well, no offense, but nobody asked you, Paco." Like, I mean, that's the truth. Like, chitlins, yeah. I tell you what, you'd have to pay me a lot of money, and I might eat one piece of it. There ain't no way I'm fucking gonna eat a damn whole fucking pig intestine. Fuck that. I seen these people on YouTube eat some motherfucking testicles of some type of animal, some type of Korea dish. I was like, man, I understand, man. Maybe long time ago people eating like that for some type of weird reason. But fuck, that's just nasty as a motherfucker. That's just like caviar. I will never spend no money for no caviar to try because why would anybody want to eat some fucking fish eggs? I mean, seriously. The fuck? God dang. Might as well fucking eat some bad heads next. I mean, what the fuck? People eat snails in fucking Paris. Fucking cockroach candy in fucking Korea and China. Not cockroach, but grasshopper and shit. Hell, probably some of them do eat cockroach candy. Yeah. Yeah. I've seen some bug candy before growing up. Somebody got in school from either a trip or ordered from somewhere or something. They brought it to school to show it off. Everybody was like, "Now eat it." They're like, "Let us see you eat it." I think one of them did. We all went, "You." This one fucking kid, man. I remember growing up. He fucking climbed up all the way up this the biggest ass tree. It was a tree that we kind of like to go to, kind of like a base or hangout spot. This motherfucker gets the bright idea because he's, I don't know, probably maybe something going on at home or a combination of shit, stuff at school. He climbed all the way to the top of this fucking tree. And, hell, he even did it when nobody was looking really. So nobody was watching him do it. People over at the tree, he yelled at him and he says, "I'm gonna stay right up here for the rest of the day." He said, "Y'all don't say nothing." Of course, they're gonna say some shit to other people. Probably one of them told a teacher. Next thing you know, you see the fucking principal running out there. A teacher that's watching the whole group outside at recess. They would all have a blowhorn that they could press whenever it went beep, and then get your ass inside. If you was doing something fucked up, instead of running way over to where you're at, they just get on the blowhorn and be like, "Ian, you better fucking stop. God dang, what's something I did? You better stop throwing that ball at that." I didn't throw anybody a ball at nobody's head, but what was it? Get away from over there. You know, like, I think, yeah, I used to get on the fucking far edge near the farm, wanting to look at the farm and shit. Our school was next to farmland and shit. Uh, so of course they all rush up to the tree and they're like, "What's his name?" They're like, why? Don't move." And then the teacher starts saying, "Everybody, food! Everybody get inside!" Not wanting us to be out there to see it. And some kids started to head inside, but a bunch didn't. And I think they were like, "Come on, y'all gotta get inside." And I think somebody ended up saying, "Don't worry about it." They're like, "Help me, I need you to go get," he's like, "Go get our very tall extended ladder if you can." And somebody would, he's like, "What's his name?" And then they call fire department, all that shit. They're like, "We don't need you to move, stay exactly where you are." And he's like, "Oh, I can get down." And they're like, "No, do not get down." And of course, he starts to try to come down, eventually slips, and fuck. They didn't. They probably broke his fall somewhat, but he ended up falling and still hurting his arm, breaking it or some way. Skinniest fucking woman teacher ended up being the way he coming down on, so she really couldn't keep him completely from not hitting the ground. Just helped broke some of the fall. He starts crying, all this shit. We're finally getting ushered back in since now they don't need everybody. Yeah, it was insane, but not as insane as fucking. Um, Y'all realize how fucking solemn it was in school? Does anybody remember besides me? How solemn it was to be in class when, 9/11 was happening. We didn't even know. All we knew was that teachers were leaving and telling us, like, shoot, they would pick the most goody two shoes tattletale, be like, and putting you in charge of watch class. I got to step out, guys. It's something I got to check what it was. They was all gathering in teachers' lounge and different places where a TV was. The library was the closest to our classroom where our teacher went. And they was watching the shit unfold, like just the first plane had just hit. And she had said, my grandma had said that somebody immediately, one of the teachers said, I think it was Miss Meredith, basically had said that I guarantee you it's an attack. Such as the odds of a plane driving the way it had to fly straight in the path of that building. They're not even, they shouldn't even be flying that low to begin with. It's not normal. That's an attack. If it's an accident, it's one hell of an accident. Must be, And then when the second one hit, everybody for sure knew we were being attacked. And, I mean, we straight up had free time that day. Like, they just left us. We were in the computer room at the time, so we just stayed on the computer. What's funny, though, is that being at our age, all of us were on sites. Like, there used to be these lifesaver sites that had all these games like Putt Putt and, you know, different golf and all types of different, like, challenging, like, little bitty puzzles and different flash animated games. And that's what we would play. Does anybody remember those when they were younger or in school? Did you ever do them? There were some sites that teachers would direct us to where, especially in the holidays, like you'd have a little room to decorate a Christmas tree and decorations out and different stuff. It was all like, I mean, like Adobe Flash at that time was like the newest, hottest shit. And all those websites were, and of course, never asked you to pay for anything else. Sometimes you could actually enter sweepstakes and stuff. They'd try to get you on maybe a mailing list. That's about it. But it was always free. I mean, they would come up with a bunch of new games and stuff too. We'd just sit there and would play that. Whenever we wasn't doing some specific assignment, they'd let us do that shit. Or we'd go to cartoonnetwork.com, or we'd go to, what's another one besides Lifesavers? Oh, I think it was called Mini Hut. It was some game site called, what was it, Mini Hut? I need to look it up. Old style game site. What the fuck was that called? Mini Hut or Mini. It was, damn. It was Mini. What was the fucking name? What the fuck, dude? Why would he do that? You a dumb motherfucker to ask that question. What's up, Z? I said earlier in the stream, if you didn't catch it, or because of my settings, you can't rewind. I said that me and you will play chess. I'm just wanting to study some more soon. Watching, and I've been doing the video lessons on my chess.com app, as well as the school I signed up for. I've been completing lessons and stuff, learning some stuff, just basics. Because you beat me a little too easy, or put it this way, you beat me a little too. You beat me in ways that, like, one of them I was able to see coming, some of the stuff, but I had limited options. And I might have even had another option I didn't see. I don't know. But another way that you beat me really threw me off was I didn't see any of the warnings or danger. And I feel like that surely if I had seen them clearer, I ought to have been able to try to block some way. And so I wanna make sure I fucking brush up on stuff before we play again. Because my ratings went down so, like, my ratings not been shit anyways because I'm a beginner, but still, even for a beginner, like, I've lost like 70 points. I don't like that. And I gotta give a shit about my rating because, I mean, I'm serious. Like, I'm planning to get into a competition one day. I don't give a fuck if I finish in second, third. I want to be first, but you know, everybody does. So doing this chess school though is probably it's probably the most extracurricular activity. Like, cause look, I know I suck at art. I don't like really. It's not really my thing either. I suck at it. It's not I can't play music. I just that's challenging too. And what's the other thing? I don't particularly. It's not that I don't like sports. I do, but you know, because of certain things, like I don't want to. I mean, I would play sports if I had, you know, but kind of don't have the. I mean, it's not really fun to play yourself. So this is something that I could do. I can do anytime, anywhere. I can. There's a large network out there for it. It's competitive. It's stimulating for the mind. It's good for the mind, and it's fun. I enjoy it. There's just there's a lot of pluses about it. So I think it's like when I came across it here recently and thought about it, I was like, I remember when I was really younger, like I said, I'm gonna get into it, and it's one of those things I said I was gonna do, and I just didn't. I think I did actually get a chess set and stuff, but I still didn't do it. It's just like when I got my guitar, I learned a little bit. I started getting calluses on some of my fingers, but I stopped. I dropped it. I didn't keep developing it. That's why I never really learned. The only thing I didn't stop with was clarinet. I learned how to play it. I did play it, But after a year of doing it and a year in band, I put my foot down. I said I quit. I said I got made fun of way too much for it. I was like, I picked it because I liked how it was unique. I thought, I myself liked the sound of it. And I'm like, everybody usually picks trumpet or something like that. It only has three uh, things, three buttons. I was like, I'm gonna choose the clarinet, and I just get fucking made fun of, like, for choosing it. And I just got so sick of it. Like, I didn't allow it to make me not do my best, but after that first year, I was like, yeah, no, nope, I'm done with band. And that's when I joined JROTC. So I never did fully give up, but some things, like, I did the best I could that first time, and then I just didn't repeat it because it was a bad experience. So I changed it to something else. JROTC I excelled in. I fucking became platoon leader. My shoes were always shined. I was perfect in drill. I was perfect in fucking, you know, doing my right face, left face, bow face. I made sure to always pass ACE uniform inspection. Sergeant Major Newton would call me high speed. He'd say, calm down, high speed. He said, you want to do everything, but you just want to do it so fast. He's like, I see you. And he said, you just set always to go, 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 go. And you forget to do important things. I said, yes, sir. Because I know he's not wrong. I don't know why. It's just, but see, then after all of that, when I was younger, fast forward to when I get a hold of some of this esoteric and spiritual information. One of my karmatic things says, because of the way my natal chart is, it says, because of these planets in the order they on, it basically causes the person to sort of plow through and have a zestful approach to life. In other words, I get up and I get whatever's in my head is going to happen. And I kind of just, like, I go through it a little haphazardly. And it says that I need to strike a balance by basically knowing what I'm good at and, doing that, but not moving so fast, basically, in other things, not, take it more slowly and deliberately because I just plow through it. It says plowing through it, so I don't want to plow through it. And it's like when I read that, I was like, that's been something that's, I was like, I literally used to get called high speed because I fucking moved too fast. I would fuck up. I was like, and then I read this just from my name, my birthday, and location of my birth, and what the fucking planets and shit was. I was like, they fucking decipher me. I was like, and people say this shit's random. If that's the case, then the next person should get the same thing, but they don't. I did one on my grandfather and my grandma and my brother, and I read them all, and each one of them was different. Uh, I don't even believe any of them had something that was the exact same. My granddad says, that he essentially, it spells out that he's very orderly and has the steps he knows to take to get things done and to enjoy his life without ever worrying about stuff piling up. And that's the exact truth. Unlike me, who sometimes will let clothes pile up or etc., he freaking, if he does something, he doesn't just do the bare minimum. He does it, he picks up after it, he preps it for next time, he finishes it, he puts it up, and like I said, he sets it all up for next time so he doesn't have to stop and do all that stuff again next time when he needs to do it. Like, he just keeps shit running like a well-oiled machine. That's just how he's built. That's how his mind navigates shit. Whereas I pretty much go by fucking as I come across it. I mean, it spells that out and says that's how he is, and then that's how I am. And if anybody could read it, brand new that came into our life, they could observe us, and then we ask them to read it after they observe us, because that's the best way for them to see that, they can't say then that we read it and basically made it true with their mind and made it look like that's what we're doing. If they see us both act differently in that respect, to where they read it afterwards and it points it out, which it does, I mean, it's hard for someone to say, well, that's just random and can fit anybody. Because if you look at the horoscope of somebody that's just by their sun sign, it can be very vague and random to fit almost anyone. But if you look at someone's natal chart and their uh, and stuff based on their natal chart, it points things out that are identical to a person that somebody has witnessed or seen from that person, and will say that that's completely spot on. You know, that's how that stuff works. And you can say, well, I don't believe in it. You don't have to believe in it. That's the problem right there. Our earth is ruled by two things: belief and recall. Belief says, I do not know. I just think and put all my weight into this being correct. It's what I identify with and agree with and put the most stock in. That's what the word belief means. For example, you wouldn't say in a sentence, I believe uh, the sun will come out tomorrow. You know the sun's coming out tomorrow. If it doesn't, it's because there's a fucking major problem. But you know from the rotation of the sun, the moon, of the earth, and all that, the sun goes away and comes back. You know that you're breathing. You don't believe you're breathing. You know you are. You believe that person may call you back tomorrow when they said they would, but you don't know for sure, but you believe they will. That's accurate. You believe the fucking Mets are going to make it to the playoffs this year. You believe that your, young adult will be in by curfew time. But you don't say you believe you're going to wear this specific shirt. You know you are. when you pick it out and put it on. When it comes to religion, religion is based on belief. It's all based on belief. They have people substituting the word belief for no and thinking it means the same thing. You have people that will kill you over belief, meaning because belief, like I said, the word really means and says, I do not know for sure. Think about that. There are people who will kill you because your beliefs are different from their beliefs, meaning because your I don't knows are different from their I don't knows in structure and likeness. They will kill you without hesitation. They will chop your head off. Because you don't believe the beliefs and practice the stuff of the Mexican cartel or betray them in any way, they'll chop your head off. That's why you had the sermon and the sword with the Quran, which that's when they came through and they say either you believe in the Quran and what we do and our law, Sharia law, or we're going to chop your head off. But let me tell you this. You want to know the group that has killed the most people in the name of religion? Even more than that, this is the group of people that kill and destroy everything they come across and in contact with, usually. Not just out of evil, necessarily, but that's the facts of what they do. You know who it is? Protestants. They kill everything they come in contact with. Protestants do, one way or another. White, Anglo-Saxon, Christian-based Protestant people and their descendants. What happened to the American buffalo? Well, that was a major source of stuff and resources for the Native Americans. White Anglo-Saxon Protestant descendants hunted, or not hunted, but killed buffalo. Didn't use anything of it or ruined it to where it wasn't able to be salvaged and used, and killed them at a rate so high that combined with the rate they were normally hunted and killed made them extinct. All because they didn't like and hated the Native Americans. Thank God some of the descendant, I think relatives, close relatives, Buffalo in uh, Canada are, some of them are protected and trying to be preserved. See, when something becomes extinct, if Mother Nature didn't plan it to become extinct, if it's extinct as a result of mankind's interference, we have no idea how that's going to affect the environment. Sometimes we do, and sometimes we don't find out till later. Sometimes we never find out what it's doing. It's like if we lose the bees, you realize we're fucked over some bees. You probably thought bees and, they could be gone. Oh well, shit. There goes a major part of the ecosystem. I think this country could completely plummet into chaos and disorder. I bet you it could happen in less than 24 hours. All it would take is an EMP in those three locations, no internet, no phone, radio for the short time being, maybe, unless, of course, that gets taken out some way. Well, actually, fuck, how you gonna use the radio? You don't have no power to power the radio. People would have to start working to try to reverse engineer batteries. The whole fucking system would have to be redone, built back up from the ground up. Unless there was some way they could figure out a way to salvage what's already built. I don't think they could. Maybe. Let's hope to God that our national security defenses and stuff are on or have an alternate source that cannot be EMP fried. Because if not, then we'd be a fucking wide open sitting duck. If an event like that happens, you have a lot of people who have underground missile silos, uh, self created underground bunkers, and different things, and they will immediately head to those sites and get there. And once they get there, some of them have it to where they can last it out at least 10 years, maybe a little more, completely self sufficient. The only bad thing is when they run out of, unless they've got a way to where they can grow food or some way down there. Some of them do, some of them only have a supply of it. When they eventually come out to the surface, what's the fucking world gonna be like? It may not be worth coming out to. An equal inherit the earth. Who knows? I think Kim Jong Un would try to. Oh, Rocket Man! Can you believe, man, that like supposedly he's got a wife that used to be a singer or something, and they've tried to erase all her old life. And that train he takes to go places, he's got that train set up to where it will go to all the way to Russia. Most anywhere he goes, he takes that train. He don't like to fly. Um, that mug is bulletproof. I believe one of the cars has a helicopter somehow set up into it to where, if so, it's just like in James Bond, he'd get in that helicopter and take off if he had to. It's got anti-air missiles, machine guns. Like I said, the walls, windows, everything are extra, double, triple bulletproof and exploding proof fucking thick. It can't go that fast because it's fucking such a heavy damn thing with all of its reinforcements. But I heard on the inside that thing is like each cabin, besides maybe the one that's dedicated to a lot of the defenses and stuff, is just complete like high end stuff, like stuff he's gotten gifts from other dictators. It's just luxury. And there's a clip, I can pull it up for you. There's a funny clip where they was struggling. Two of his fucking lower guards. It was probably like, oh shit, he's gonna kill us. They were having trouble trying to line up the ramp that he walks off of from the train to line it up with the train, right? They kept having to have the train scoot back, scoot forward, scoot back. Oh shit! I bet you he walked by and he'd be like, "I'll deal with you two later." Oh shit! You can get in trouble for taking a picture of the back of the statues of his father and grandfather. Take a piece of the banner down in a hotel. 15 years hard labor. Come back home to the U.S. with a concussion and coma, and then die a few days later. Go over there with a vape product or something, probably end up in damn prison. Hard labor. Criticize the supreme leader, even though you're not a citizen there, prison. You could not pay. They would have to pay me a lot to go to North Korea, and when I would go there, I would go with nobody that's a dumbass or prankster, because they are not fucking gonna get me locked up. Hell to the no. Like, do you know them? No, sir. I am completely alone. I have nothing but my guide and my guide chaperone, who's my tour guide. I am completely alone on this trip. I am here to appreciate North Korean culture. I'd wait till I got back to the safety of the U.S. Then I would add and edit to my video and be like, well, now we are safely back home in the good old US today. Now I can give you all my criticisms and crazy moments. I wouldn't have dared say over there for fear of being hauled off to a labor camp. This ain't no joke, man. I'm laughing, but it's a fact. People get taken to a Do you realize if your home catches on fire over there, before you try to get your children out, worry even about getting yourself out, anyone else, pets, belongings. If you've got a picture of the supreme leader, or his father, grandpa, etc., and you don't get those things out of the house, and they burn, yep, you go into a labor camp. You go into prison. I'm fucking serious. I'd be like, I don't. And then if you try to say, well, I don't own any, like, that might not be a great answer either. But, yeah, man, that's fucking insane. Crazy. I remember watching some documentary. Was it Louis Theroux? It was when they went there to play basketball with North Korea, and Dennis Rodman was there. Him and Dennis Rodman are like fucking, but like best friends, man. And they were serious about basketball. I'll tell you that. They was trying to learn that shit to dominate. I hate to say it though, but I think it was the Globetrotters, if I'm not mistaken, Harlem Globetrotters. I could be wrong. Some team from the U.S. they came over and they whooped their ass. Uh, Dennis gets up and gives a speech talking about, I want to thank my friend Kim here, and I'm just like, oh, come on, man, you gotta sit there and fucking like, damn, you gotta sit there and simp for him, like, fuck. All he did was let some Americans come and play with fucking them. I mean, God dang. It's not like he fucking ended world hunger or something. He can't even end hunger for his own country. Y'all look over North Korea via satellite at nighttime, a lot of the times out of the year. You know that the only lights showing up on the map are coming from government and wealthy type homes and buildings. Most of the country can't even fucking keep the lights on. Whether it's old infrastructure, can't update it, repair it, I have no idea. I have no idea. Some people there eat grass regularly to try to supplement the fact that they have no food. Fucking grass. I don't think Kim is missing any meals. That's why I love the interview. Like, I wish we could get more North Koreans to see the interview because that shit is fucking funny. Like, I've kind of, as I've gotten older, I've gotten a little more tired. You know, like these spoof type films, some of their little gimmicks is just so over the top. I'm like, yeah. I've only seen that so many different times, but that was one that I can genuinely watch again and again and laugh at. Seth Rogen and James together are very fucking funny. Uh, it's just one of them combinations where they're good, but I'm not gonna sit there and watch every film they're in together back to back to back because after a while, you know, what they're gonna do becomes predictable no matter what movie it's in. Very predictable. That's the only complaint. Jonah Hill, he's a great actor. Like I give him props for he really wanted to be in a Quentin Tarantino movie so bad that, you know, when it came to getting the lesser role of being a Klansman on Django, he didn't give a shit that he got a below average pay cut even for his name or whatever because the role was small and he just wanted to work with him. Like, fuck, you got Sam Jackson, fucking Leonardo, Jonah Hill, fucking Jamie Foxx, Christopher Waltz, fuck. Oh, can't forget, what's his name? Walton Goggins. Shit, man, just a phenomenal fucking cast. I think my favorite scene was when he actually broke his hand. Like Leonardo, he slammed his hand so hard without thinking, getting in character. He cut his hand on glass, and they just kept running. He didn't stop or anything, and he got the idea pretty quickly. He's like, he grabs what's her name, Heidi, by the face, and just is smearing his real blood that's bleeding from his hand from cutting it on the glass and breaking it. He smears it all over her face. He said, if the price for 15,000, how much was it? How much was he wanting again? $12,000, I believe. Um, and he said, if you think my price of 12,000 is too steep for this one here, he moves all his shit off the table, puts her head down, and grabs his little fucking hammer. He's like, I'm gonna bust her skull and break it open right in front of you, and then we can examine the dimples inside her skull. He said, so what's it gonna be? He's like, I take it, you know, you prefer the fucking take it or leave it style of negotiation? He's like, well, under the laws, she's my property and I can do whatever I want. He pays her, But then, man, they could have all left if he could have just like fucking swallowed his perk, but he couldn't. Like he had to shoot that dude. Right before he did, he was sitting there thinking of that dude he fed to them dogs, and he just couldn't get that shit out of his head. I thought that was masterfully done. The way it did little flashbacks while Beethoven was playing, and he finally went to her and he's like, "Stop playing Beethoven." And you could tell like how done he was because he's like, "I wonder what Mr. Dumas would have thought of it." He said, "You must have named your slave after his lead character in the Three Musketeers." He said, "Soft-hearted Frenchie." And he turned around and he goes, "Alexander Dumas is black." So it shows he didn't even know fucking the character he named his slave after from a novel. He didn't even know it was written by a black man. Like he knew they were, he thought they were French, which they were, but he was black. Like he didn't even know. That's how dumb he was. And so he one-upped him intellectually. He signed the papers and then he left. And then dude's like, shake my hand. He kills him. And shit, it's just such a good movie, man. Every fucking movie Quentin makes is good. The only one I haven't seen is Kill Bill. I've got to see Kill Bill. There might be one more I haven't seen. But I'm gonna be seeing every fucking movie he makes. I've seen Pulp Fiction, I've seen Reservoir Dogs, I've seen Hateful Eight, I've seen Django, I've seen uh what the fuck is it? Besides Hateful Eight, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, I saw it. I haven't seen Kill Bill. I remember saying, I know I've seen From Dusk Till Dawn, which he actually played. He's an actor in that. I don't know if he helped write or direct that or not, but he plays somebody in it. What's the other? I think there's another movie or two that's not that. It's kind of a little more obscure, older, but I'll find out. Anyways, yeah, I like movies. Sorry, I'm a movie nerd. I got kind of trailed off. But yeah, I don't hold it against blind, I guess it's kind of easy when you can't see that people are coming over and they already showed their hand and came over. Like, I could play the clip of Fusion singing word for word. All we gotta do, like, it's not gonna last long at blinds. He's talking about, he's like, all we gotta do is keep putting pressure until we find a weak spot. It won't, be forever. Literally, like the night after, I think it was either the first or second time I went to blinds. He said that the next morning because he was sniping. Then I stopped and he said, yeah. I recorded that, but, I could play it right now, but I'm not even going to waste my time or give him the attention. Just take my word for it. He said it. He probably would even admit that he said it. If not, let me know if he denies it because I'll play it. And he's definitely said it. But like I said, I could play that right now, prove it without a shadow of a doubt, basically, that, essentially, if Blind didn't give in under niceness, they would have attacked him. Oh, most definitely. They would have doxed him, they would have doxed his mama, they would have doxed his daddy, they'd doxed his sis, anybody. whoever he was dating, if anybody online, they'd gone after them. They'd flood his chat. They'd blow him up with viewers like Filthy did one morning. They'd try to porn bomb him. They'd pretend to be me when trying to porn bomb him using a clip of me. They would fucking pretend to be accounts that he's never seen before, and hell, even I don't recognize, and run interference. If he was single, they'd fucking get some girl that runs with him to go over there and send him fake fucking pics, basically. As a matter of fact, I've already been told that that happened. That one of these chicks have honeypotted him and sent him pictures. I'm not making this up, I swear to God. I put it this way. One who's already referred to herself as a slut, like, has sent him pics. It's not even her. Not even her, right? Then again, to be believable, she might end up sending like a top, no more than maybe a little boob pic for her face, but the rest, they're fake. All to fucking, like, fuck, I can't get that from Square, all to fucking cause division and get a wedge between. This is what they do. It's what they do. Like I said, nice tactics first. That doesn't work. Hardcore. It's a simple fucking MO. It's not hard. But whatever. I'll tell you this. One more thing. Guess what? I'm gonna call it right now. And I'm gonna give one ominous reference, and I will break down the meaning later. So remember, I said this right here, so you can't say later on I just made it up. 7 days. That's all I'm saying. 7 days. Just remember, secret message pointing out beforehand right now a prediction. It'll be revealed, and it'll be the truth in 7 days. If not, and I'm wrong, then I'm wrong. If I'm right, I'm right. RN? You mean registered nurse? I would really like to. That was going to be my path one time. The only problem is I got through the math, the prerequisite math. I completed it. I got the credit, but I wasn't able to do anatomy and physiology at the same time during that semester. I could go through and do the classes. I have no doubt about that. What I have a doubt on is my ability to do those complicated classes, like being able to do two, or even at the worst, if they try to get me, if you have to do more than two in one semester. It's just trying to juggle as many. That's why I dropped anatomy and physiology before I couldn't drop it anymore, because if I dropped it by then, it didn't count against me. And my grade was dropping and dropping, and it was dropping in math. So I put all my focus on math, and I made an A. But I got criticized about it, not just one but two people, because they said you'll never make that. I mean, you got to be able to do both. Like um, I had issues with it, and somehow through a discussion with another person in healthcare, I ended up changing my mind and picking something else. But it is what it is. Miss Pitbulls, please talk to me and reach out to me. I'm gonna get off here. I've been on here for a while. My download's done. I didn't really get to go over no videos or nothing, but like I said, it was just trying to chill, waste time. I told some stories, what have you. I'm out. Like I said, I ain't got no hate or grudge towards blind, but I mean, disrespectful, two-faced shit, and they'll not get no satisfaction to me. Keep my name, using it in your mouth and using it for views and stuff. You know, I'm not Danny. I wasn't tripping on you over a girl or nothing. Like, you did this straight up out of left field, out of nowhere, all because I expressed my opinion to you. You took it public. You tried to use it for content and views and attention. It's pretty sad, man. I think even they're laughing at you, even though they won't admit it.